I had a few heavy spots and some dry areas, but those are easy enough to touch up. Plus, it's a fence, so
So this is the problem with non-penetrating stains, is that you will see runs like this.
I could just add water to change the viscosity and thin it out a bit.
I don't know if this is a great idea. I mean, typically you want to let the professionals that are developing the product figure out the correct ratios for this.
So I was ready to take it to the fence and see how it performed. Overall, it wasn't terrible.
It's quite a vote of confidence. It did okay.
Today's video is brought to you by Nationwide Industries, the Fence Pros' #1 choice. And they're this Fence Pros choice for a couple reasons. The most recent reason? Gate kits. They've paired their most popular hinges with their most popular latches in the most common post sizes to make it easier to grab and go. Also, as a consumer, it makes sure you know you've got the right hinge for the right latch. For example, if you've got a pull gate, they've got a pull gate kit just for you. It's got the Cornerstone hinge in it. It's got the Trident 20-inch. Both some of our most popular gate hinge hardwares. You've got a vinyl fence with 5-inch posts. They got you covered. They've got their Cornerstone 2 hinge. They've got the Keystone Traverse latch, which I love a lot. They've also got a handle in there. But if you have a vinyl fence with, say, a 4-inch post, they've got that too. All at Nationwide Industries. Check them out in the link below.
All right, guys, today's video is titled The Easiest Way to Stain a Fence, 3 Methods Tested from the Suburban Acreage channel. If you'd like to watch this video in its entirety without my commentary, we'll link it in the description below. With that being said, let's get into it.
I wanted to know the easiest way to stain my fence, so I tested 3 different methods and I'm going to show you what worked best. The first method is cheap and easy, but it's a lot of work and it isn't that fast. The second method you probably haven't seen anyone dumb enough to actually try before. And the third method promises speed, but it comes at a cost. I'm going to find out what worked best.
All right, so it looks like a brush, an electric sprayer, or like a battery-powered backpack sprayer, and then an actual like airless sprayer. 3 good options.
Before I get started, I did just a little bit of prep work.
All right, we'll skip forward to where he gets to the actual staining part. He's going to trim up around the fence, clean the fence a little bit, basically get it ready. One key point here is he said that it is about a year old.
The first method that I tried was the brush technique. Very cheap, very basic, and everyone knows how to do it. I didn't have high hopes for this method since I had such a huge area to do, and my suspicions were correct. It sucked. I started on this technical part of the fence because I thought it would at least be good at getting into the crevices of that divider crossbar. It went exactly as you would imagine it going, slow as hell. The second method uses a backpack sprayer, and the idea is that if it can atomize herbicides and pesticides for lawn and home applications, why not just pour some stain in the tank and stain a fence with it?
So you see this a lot, guys using pump-up sprayers, and it seems to work. The detail here is getting that sprayer nozzle set up right to where, I mean, the stain's going to be thicker than, well, a quality oil-based stain is going to be thicker than a water-based like fertilizer or whatever he's spraying with it here.
I started by pouring a small amount of stain into the tank because I wasn't sure if this was actually a good idea or not. I figured it would either work great and be brilliant, or I'd gum up my pump and wreck my sprayer. Either way, I was excited to see the results. I flipped the pump on and tried to purge the hoses, but the pump just continued to cycle and I was only getting some residual water coming out of the sprayer that was already in the line. It turns out the stain is too thick for the sprayer to work, and even though the stain doesn't look super thick like paint does, it's still way too thick for what this pump on this sprayer is designed to do. Now, I'm using a water-based stain from Valspar, and it'll be linked in the video description if you want to check it out, but I knew I could just add water to change the viscosity and thin it out a bit. So that's exactly what I did. I roughly mixed it.
I don't know if this is a great idea. I mean, typically you want to let the professionals that are developing the product figure out the correct ratios for this. Just simply kind of watering it down, it will obviously lead to a lighter stain, but I don't know. I don't have a lot of experience with water-based. Like I said, the preference for professionals is a quality like a penetrating oil-based stain.
It 1-to-1 and gave it a good shake to mix things up. I was losing hope on this method actually working, but after switching the pump on again, I was excited to see that I was able to get product coming out of the sprayer. I'm using the tip that gives me the best atomization and even pattern, and everything looked great, so I was ready to take it to the fence and see how it performed. Overall, it wasn't terrible. It sprayed decently well, and I was able to...
It's quite a vote of confidence. It did okay. It Looks really light.
The biggest downfall with this method is what I already showed you, having to dilute the product instead of spraying it straight out of the bucket. And it's a huge negative for two reasons. One is the obvious time it takes to actually mix the stain with water and the time it takes to fill the tank because it only holds about 3 gallons. It claims it holds 4 gallons, but that's filled to the brim, and also 4 gallons of fluid on your back is pretty heavy, so I don't go much over 3.5. This project used 15 gallons of stain, so I'd have to mix 30 gallons of diluted stain if I wanted to use my backpack sprayer for the whole thing. That's a lot of mixing and around 10 tank refills too. Kind of a lot of messing around, but it could work. The second negative to having to dilute the stain has to do with overall coverage. Since the product is diluted, it's reasonable that the coverage isn't as heavy as it would be using the stain straight up. While this is a semi-transparent stain that doesn't fully cover, with the diluted mixture spraying through the backpack sprayer, it was extremely light, and I would probably require a second coat to get the color right. And
Even with the second coat, and with water-based stains, you have to be very careful with the second coat just because it's not a penetrating stain so much as the oil is, and you can really notice overlaps or where some portions are applied a little bit heavier than others. It's where you see striping on a stained fence.
Now you might be thinking to yourself, hey moron, they make something that does exactly what you're trying to do. It's called a paint sprayer. And you are correct. The third method is exactly that, a paint sprayer from Graco, a Magnum X7 to be exact. And its sole existence is to spray paint as quickly and efficiently as possible. It was time to stain the fence, and as you can see, the Graco absolutely rips. I want to remind you that I had never used an airless paint sprayer before, but I felt like it was very user-friendly and that I was getting great results. I had a few heavy spots and some dry areas, but those are easy enough to touch up. Plus, it's a fence, so
this is the problem with non-penetrating stains, is that you will see runs like this. And I understand the thought of a fence is a fence, but if you're going to go through the expense and the time of doing it, you might as well do it right and have it look nice.
Never. After the first section was done, I added an extension to the gun so that I could be a little further away and didn't have to bend down as much. You can see the before and after here of what the stain will look like when it's done compared to the untreated fence. I think it'll look pretty good.
All right, guys, the rest of the video is going to talk about just his issues with the city and the pains of building the fence. Let me know. The main point that I'd like to cover is the fence staining. So we've got brush or the battery operated backpack sprayer, and then the actual airless paint sprayer. Let me know what you guys thought. Are there other options that he hasn't considered that we haven't covered? Drop those in the comments below as well. For now, Joe Everest, the fence expert, reminding you that good fences make good neighbors, and I'll see you next time.